So you pick up the phone, and it's her voice begging for money. Except, it was never real. It was AI the whole time. Tonight, on WZINX-TV, the romance scam that's turning loneliness into a business model. Let's see what the simulation decided to drop on my lap. Another day, another glitch. Let's get into it.
AI romance scams are stealing millions. The deepfake deception. According to the FTC and recent reports, Americans lost billions to fraud in recent years, with romance scams alone hitting over $1 billion annually and surging as AI makes them more convincing than ever. Experian warns that emotionally intelligent bots and deepfakes are exploding in 2026. Stay with me to uncover how these scams work, real stories, and most importantly, how to protect yourself. These aren't your old school catfishes anymore. Modern AI romance scams, often called pig butchering, are industrial scale operations. It starts innocently. A random DM on Instagram, Facebook, a dating app like Tinder, or even LinkedIn. Scammers use AI tools to generate hyper-realistic profile photos, faces that don't exist, created by generators like those behind Midjourney or similar tech. Then comes the conversation. AI-powered bots using large language models chat 24/7. They scan your social media for details, your job, hobbies, family, and build personalized responses. I love hiking too. Tell me about your last trip. It feels real because it's designed to manipulate emotions with precision. The real horror. Deepfakes take it to another level. Scammers use tools to clone voices from just seconds of public audio or create real-time video calls where the person smiles, blinks, and speaks naturally. But it's all synthetic. Reports show deepfakes in romance fraud rising dramatically, with platforms even offering live face swapping for scams. After weeks or months of building trust, sharing vulnerable stories, future plans, they pivot to money. I have this amazing crypto investment opportunity, it's guaranteed. They show fake apps, fabricated profits, even deepfake testimonials. You send funds via crypto, wire transfers, gift cards, and they're gone. Why it hits hard for 25-60-year-old. Younger users seek connection online. Older ones combat loneliness. Average losses, thousands to hundreds of thousands per victim. McAfee's 2026 research found that 1 in 7 American adults have lost money to these scams. The FTC reported massive jumps in romance scam complaints, with losses in the billions range when including underreported cases. Experian flags AI romance bots as a top 5 fraud trend in 2026. Emotionally smart, running nonstop, no human needed. Victims in places like California lost tens of millions in 2025 alone, with surges continuing into 2026.
Wow. We got a lot to unpack here. I covered something very similar to this about people having relationships with a chatbot. That's the new thing, I guess. It's becoming an intimacy loneliness trap, essentially. And what can I say? People are falling for voices. They're falling for chats. They're falling for fake emotional connections, all right? We've established this before. I've spoken about this. The scam works, right? It works. Why? Because it targets needy people. They're not necessarily stupid, all right? I'm not calling them stupid. But this is how it preys on people, and everybody is vulnerable. So don't think that because you're a crafty person, you got your wits about you, you can use common sense. Listen, common sense ain't so common these days, right? But even those people can get victimized, all right? It's victimization. So we gotta ask ourselves, what happens, essentially, when love becomes software? They can use things like 11 Labs, right? They can clone people's voices. Which they do. That's how this works. And Midjourney is used a lot. I'm sure Grok is probably used too. I'm sure ChatGPT is also used. Listen, there's hundreds of AI models out there that are ripping each other off. They're ripping people off. All right? Now, who's to say that somebody doesn't pick up a magazine from like 20 years ago, 30 years ago? They scan the person or model, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then they make an amalgamation, a new person from that. And then they put that into the AI, and it turns it into a realistic looking person. And now, they're pretending that this person is real, and nobody knows, none the wiser. Especially older people, right? Older people are more susceptible to this kind of scam. So, you got boomers out there, even Gen Xers, all right? You got Gen Xers that don't know no better. Yeah, they know what AI is. They know the surface level of things. But they don't know how deep this rabbit hole really goes. And they pretty much have a very surface level generalization. What it can do, how it helps people. But they don't know the underbelly, the dirtiness, the ugliness, the dark web type of stuff that this thing can be utilized for. And this is what we're talking about. You know, it preys on people, an older crowd, an older generation, are more susceptible to this, you know? And then it gets them to give money, however way it does. That's how people get scammed. It's a very sad thing. I discussed in the earlier video that I did, actually my first video that I did. People that are lonely and got nothing going for themselves. People that have a very hard time making an emotional connection with other people. They're more vulnerable to this type of scam because they believe that somebody that they never met actually likes them out of the clear blue. All right? We know how hard that is. And it sweet talks them. It makes them feel good. It plays on their heartstrings, the emotional level of things. And these people fall for it. And the next thing you know, bam! They're the honeypot. They're getting ripped off for their money, their crypto, if they have crypto, if they invest in crypto. It opens the door for all sorts of things. And that's a very sad thing. Listen, I know 2 people personally that this sort of thing has happened to. They've been catfished by an AI. And they were robbed on blind. I know 2 people. And that's sad. Now it becomes a federal investigation because now this thing gets higher than your local police. It's crazy. And I personally know a dude, I got a friend, not to get too much in his business, but he's kind of a sad case. He is one of those people that he would be vulnerable to this type of thing. And I see it coming a mile away. I hope, I pray that it never happens to him. I hope so. But he's one of these people. Hell, you know, it could happen to old WZINX-NYC over here. You know, nobody. And I mean, nobody is protected against this sort of thing. Listen, that's the new technology we're dealing with. And as the technology advances, it's becoming more sophisticated. So listen, like all things, especially with technology, it could serve the greater good of things. It can serve the greater good. But then it has the flip side to it, right? And that flip side is the underbelly, the ugly truth that it will be used by criminals. They will do some nefarious and they will get away with it too. because that's how, you know, the criminal mind is set up. And there's nothing that anybody can really do about it. Listen, if there's a will, there's always a way. That's the god-awful truth. What are we gonna do? What can be done? What can be said? Nothing. Nothing. So just try to have your wits about you. Try not to speak to too many people online if you can avoid it. Try not to get yourself involved with strangers. Stranger danger. All right, there you go. You know, we teach that to our kids. Stranger danger. Well, the same goes for us adults. Stranger danger. If you don't know the person, why talk to them? Especially online. If you don't know them, that goes without saying. But that's all I got for you today. This is ZINX-NYC. I will see you people later. Oh, and do me a favor. Subscribe. Hell, it don't cost you anything.